Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Lipstick and Liberation, a podcast from the perspective of a 40-year-old Black feminist as I interact with society, gossip, news, art, anything that I come across that I want to talk about with you guys. As with lipstick, so with patriarchy. I always have the right shade. Thank you guys for coming back out. We got some more likes on the Facebook page. I truly appreciate you guys who have supported me across platforms. You can also subscribe to the podcast for $3 a month. As low as that, you can help me with storing it because it does cost to store it. So if you really appreciate what I'm doing, you want to help me keep it going, I would really appreciate that. However, if all you have are to lend are your ears, I'll take that too. Thank you so much for even being here and being present. As the days go by, the more things I see, the more I really realize how deeply entrenched misogyny is and how ugly it's become, especially misogynoir. I want to take a moment and talk about the Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion, the way this story has come back around since he got stabbed. It really hurts my heart to see how many people are willing to disbelieve Megan Thee Stallion, especially as a domestic violence survivor. And the way the people disbelieve her reminds me of MAGA, where people are taking things that are facts and ignoring them so that they can just believe what best suits them, what best fits what they want to believe. And you can't argue logic with people like this. This is what's so dangerous about this thought cult that exists right now. You can present facts to people and they will just disregard them because they want to believe something. They would just rather believe this other thing. And the same thing is happening with her. If you really look at this case, like when all of this first happened, she didn't even report him and he continued to antagonize her about it. Chopping up horse legs and music videos. He was like pitching things to blogs, which we see he still does even from prison. So he had essentially gotten away with this. But if you know anything about abusers, they're never happy with getting away with the abuse per se. Once you show them they can get away with it, they feel like you're weak. So they start needling at you and picking at you more and more, which is exactly textbook what he was doing here. So when she finally said, hey, you shot me, he didn't even get arrested right away. The state of California eventually brought charges up against him. And if you've ever listened to his prison call, he's very clear when he's talking on the phone that he feels guilty about what happened that night. He doesn't specifically say it, but he definitely expresses sorrow and guilt. And he says, he was so drunk. And if he wasn't drunk, that never would have happened. It's extremely obvious that Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. The other thing is, there's no reason for her to lie about that. When people say she's lying, this is a form of misogynoir. Why would somebody lie about the person who shot them? Why would they go and sit in court and testify? Like, listen to what you are implying, that somebody got up and took time out of their life to go and make up a story. She was not going to face consequences if he got out beyond him still being dangerous. If he was innocent, there was no downside to him getting out for her. She had no good reason to lie about him shooting her. She had every reason to want the person who shot her to be locked up. And now you have these Black celebrity men who obviously hate women, who are like the king incels like Drake, Chris Brown, circulating this change.org petition to get him out of jail. Do you know how angry that makes me as a Black woman? Knowing that Black men, these groups of Black men would gladly put Megan Thee Stallion's safety at risk. Because if this man gets out of prison, he's only going to feel more empowered. He will go after her again. He's not going to stop hurting people. He also beat up August Alsina and lied about that. August Alsina produced the video showing that he was lying. And it's infuriating watching people just still believe that somehow he could have not shot Megan Thee Stallion. Because it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. You really would have to stretch your imagination to create a scenario where this person didn't do this. And why would you want to do that? Why are you so pressed not to believe Megan Thee Stallion? Because you hate her. Because you hate her because she is a free Black woman and she is sexual. And that disgusts you. So since she's like that, she must also be a liar. I mean, that's misogynoir. That's misogyny right there. It makes perfect sense that Tory Lanez shot her. But she's not a person we feel like believing because we don't like the way she conducts herself. So we're just going to ignore all logic and say that it didn't happen and she's lying. Because that's what kind of women do that. That's what they do, is they lie. I'm thinking about Meg. I'm thinking about her daily. This is a Megan Thee Stallion support space. We're always on the side of women. We're always on the side of victims over here. And I'm thinking about her because this must be so infuriating. People ask why we don't tell when people abuse us. Then when you do, Even when they get convicted, people try to start some kind of campaign up. These people are working with MAGA politicians to try to get this man out. So you go and tell somebody, hey, this man shot me, and he gets convicted by a jury of his peers, and still people don't believe you. Nothing is good enough. Nothing is good enough for Black women when we are seeking justice. There's always, oh, she might be lying. Oh, something about her character. Never nothing wrong with a man's character. Never. Even like I said, Tory Lanez beat up a man and lied about it. His character is horrible. He also has domestic violence charges from a previous partner. But that doesn't matter. Megan Thee Stallion twerks, so she must be lying. It's heinous and it's sick, and I hate it, and I hate it for her. There's no place for that here. We believe victims. So shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Just know that, you know, the community that I have, the people that I'm around, we support you. And I am so, so sorry that people continue to re-victimize you in the name of hating Black women. But moving on, another person who hates Black women, Mr. Christopher Brown, he posted Free Tory, and no sooner had he landed in Great Britain, they locked him up. And I am so excited about that. Chris Brown being in jail is one of the highlights of last week. Tory got stabbed, DDG, he got the restraining order put against him, and now Chris Brown is in jail, where he should be permanently. He should not be doing concerts. It actually hurts my heart that Black women and women in general support Chris Brown. It's something really, really wrong. It's also a sign of misogynoir. That's self-hate. Like, why are you giving your money to a woman beater? Why are you giving your money to a man that you know abuses people so that he can have the power and access to continue to abuse people? What's wrong with you as a woman? Have you sat down and took a look at yourself and considered what may be going on with you? But hey, here he bust a man in the head with a bottle. So now he's in jail. And my British friends tell me that he's probably going to be there for a while because they'll consider him a flight risk. And I'm happy. I'm grateful for that. I'm so grateful. I hope that everybody that got a concert ticket will not be able to get a refund. I hope he gets locked up for a long time and can't perform anymore. He doesn't deserve to be able to perform. He is a vile, disgusting person. They have him on camera beating a man in the head with a tequila bottle. This is a sick, violent person who has been violent that we know of since the age of 19. Pushing 40, still doing the same stuff. And people demand that we forgive him. And this takes me back to the Cassie thing, because I was talking about this on TikTok. If you want to follow my TikTok, that's at CrazyLexiCool, at CrazyLexiCool. But when men are talking about Cassie and acting like she's damaged goods for what a man did to her, what Diddy did to her. They talk about her like, oh, I feel for her husband. I feel for her husband because he got with somebody who had a sexual past that they don't approve of. When women do something like that, when women are essayed or they have a sex life men don't approve of, they're irredeemable. You're worthless from then on. But a man is always redeemable. Chris Brown, no matter how many people he has been violent towards, everybody always tells us we need to give him a second chance. We need to give him another chance. No, this is who he is. He doesn't need another chance. He needs to be locked up and medicated and possibly be in therapy. I'm not a pro-incarceration person, but abusers, people who essay people, those people are not fit for society. We got to figure out something to do with them, and I think they should be locked up. Somebody that just stole something, not really. But abusers, I have no love for abusers, none. I don't like them. I have no forgiveness in my heart. I will not forgive you. The only way you get forgiven as an abuser for me is if you go decades. I need at least 2 decades where you don't do anything to somebody. And then you also need to do some restorative justice. You also need to open a shelter after you made amends with all your victims. You need to open a shelter for domestic violence or have a domestic violence charity. If I see you doing that, then I may think you changed. Other than that, no. Not hitting somebody for 4 minutes is not change. I don't accept that. So I'm glad Chris Brown is locked up. We are lucky to have the reprieve. Get these abusers off the street. Lock them up. Get these people that are harming women off the street. The next thing I want to talk about is these incels who are constantly attacking women online. Twitter is getting so bad with this. We need to start telling these men back off because they constantly come at us calling us single moms, saying we don't look good without makeup, wigs, lashes, etc., etc. Now, if you're somebody like me, I don't value men's opinion high enough to care about what they think about me. I'm very confident in myself. I know that I am attractive and generally attractive to men. But I literally don't believe men that say that they don't find me attractive. I know they're saying that to try to hurt my feelings. And you can't hurt my feelings that way because a lot of men are not attractive already. So I just start telling them they're ugly back. If a man tells me that I'm not attractive without my wig and lashes and makeup, I tell him I know that you are ugly naked. I know that when you take your clothes off, you look more like the planet than the fitness. My goal is to humiliate him so that maybe he will leave women alone. But the fact is, I know that men do care about women's opinion about them more than women who are like me and not male-centered care about theirs. I say start being mean back. Definitely start being mean back. Blow those avatar pictures up. Let the world see who has the audacity to try to say something to you about not looking good. Because they're investing no time into what they look like. But showing up trying to silence you by humiliating you, by saying, I'm not attracted to you. I don't want you to be attracted to me. In fact, I'm very, very happy to find that you are not attracted to me. Because I don't care about your attraction. That's not my business. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter to me because I would never, ever want to even be within 500 feet of you. A man that tries to purposely attack and argue with women is not a man I ever want to be around. And we got to just let them know. I let them know and then I block them. Because I want them to know women don't care about what you think. We don't care if you don't find us attractive. You're not attractive. Focus on that. And another interaction I had on Twitter today, a person tried to tell me that we were talking about how men, as parents, were most likely to harm children through not monitoring them. So a child is most likely to get injured with a male caregiver. And a man jumped in and has a male unrelated caregiver is the most likely to injure them, which is true. So I said, hey, that's why, I don't want to date. I don't want to live with a man anymore. And he said, well, are you just going to be single forever? And I said, I don't care. Like, I literally don't care if I am single forever. I would like to date, but I only date when I don't have my kid. I don't want him to be a part of any of that. I'm not going to never live with another man. If I'm living with a man, it's because he has bought me a mansion and he lives in another wing. I don't want to live with a man ever again. And it was so funny to me because this is where I realized, like, the way that some of their conversation goes. He was trying to blame single moms for bringing unrelated men into the household and children getting injured. But when I said that I would not do that because I don't want to date men, like I don't want to get enmeshed in a live together situation like that, he was just baffled. It was beyond him. And he was trying to convince me that I need to date and I need to get back out there. And I said, do you not hear how you're contradicting yourself? You're saying that women are wrong for letting men into their lives that are not related to the child because they could harm the child, but also I need to date and get a man that is not related to my child into my household. It was very baffling. It was almost like the reality is when you look at those studies, it's telling you that men are more neglectful caregivers when it comes to injuries. But he still had to find a way to blame it on women. But also, he still had to found it bizarre that I didn't want to be around a man in the house again. Like, there's never a time where they compute it as this is a problem in regards to men then. Like, that makes sense that if this thing I said and spoke up for is true, that you would not want a man in the house with your child. Because for him, there's never a scenario where I shouldn't want a man. I should just take the blame for when a man does something wrong. These are the conversations and discussions like that I notice more and more as a woman, as somebody who is getting older and has divorced herself from much of misogyny, is that is something that would have made sense to me when I was younger because I would have blamed women for not picking the right man. But now I understand that men want it both ways. They want to blame us for not picking the right man, but then also tell us to keep trying. Like, if I'm bad at picking men, why would I not want to say, you know what, it's just safer for me not to date? Why are you telling me I need to keep on dating? Because they don't want us out of their supply. He did mention at some point that I was attractive. So that's the thing. I'm attractive. I'm not supposed to not be dating men at any point in time. Like, the more you navigate this world, especially online with so many incels who are very bold to talk to you, the more you realize that this society is in a bad, bad place when it comes to misogyny. It's not just happening in the U.S. I saw somebody from Persia post about how they're fighting back and how women used to have rights. And the post said, don't think that progress can't be undone. And I think about that. I think about that here. Like, I really worry. It's so scary to me because we're watching progress be undone. We're watching men regress. We're watching people become more conservative. I'm watching black men ignore facts and logic to stick up for Tory Lanez. Women ignore facts and logic to stick up for Chris Brown because they like his music. It's scary. All of it is so scary to me. And that's why I get on here. Someone asked the other day, like, how come there aren't popular female streamers? How come there aren't popular female podcasts? And this is where a lot of men are getting their information. I know this is not where a lot of women are getting their information, but that's why I'm here, because this space is so empty. And our voices have to be heard. We can't just be complaining in our group chats. We need to be out here. We need to be vocal. We need community. But most of all, we have to take care of ourselves too, so we can take care of others. So I hope you guys have been taking into account what I've said about doing something for yourself for 15 or 20 minutes today. I've started back walking for 30 minutes every day. I'm really trying to focus in on making myself more resilient as more and more things are happening, because I know I'm going to be called in some way, shape, or form to action. So I want to make sure that I am able to serve in whatever capacity that is, even if that's just continuing to make this podcast. But thank you guys so much again for listening. I do appreciate you. If you feel so compelled, please definitely like my Facebook page. You can buy me a coffee. There's a link on there for that. Or subscribe, like I said, to help keep the podcast stored. Thank you guys again for everything that you do daily to fight patriarchy. And I'm sending you love and light.